Now, back to PTR Radio.
Spectacular group of men. You go find them, you throw your arms around them, you give them a big kiss on the mouth.
This is PTR Radio.
And welcome, everybody, to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. Oh, it's great to be back on again, this time with only a one-day delay. Man, I'll tell you what, those family obligations just keep getting in the way. I need healthier relatives. That's what I need.
Unfortunately, it's a fact of life that all relatives eventually will not be healthy.
Yeah, and mine are my in-law, my father-in-law, which is the last one that I have left, really is getting to that age where it's like every other week, it's like a different trip to the hospital.
Yeah,
but it also brings up those great conversations because old people seem to be fascinated with feces.
Feces?
Yes. Either they're not doing it enough or they're doing it too much. They want you to know about their bowel movements.
Let me tell you, the phrase, I never started hearing the phrase good form more in a non-Olympic year than when talking about caca.
It's I tell you what, my wife's ex-mother-in-law, that was her favorite topic of conversation was how many bowel movements she was having. If she wasn't having enough, what could she do to have more? And my father-in-law right now is the same thing. It's either shotgun shells, shotgunning the toilet bowl, or I can't go. He acts like if he doesn't have 4 movements a day, there's something wrong. Is this what we have to look forward to, Mike?
The hell are you asking me for?
I don't know. You're the elder.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. Okay, I have reached that age where I take fiber every day. I have one of those little pill things for the week with my allergy pill, my vitamin.
Does it say
a supplement?
Now, do you have a 4 divide per day? You know, morning, noon, dinner, and evening? Because my wife now wants to buy one for my father-in-law.
Nope, it's one a day. And I take 2. I take 2 fiber caps with my vitamins. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit that at all. But no, I don't. Frequency is not as much a concern. I have, however, reached that age where I'm excited when the wife brings me home a pack of dude wipes from Walmart. I'm like, ooh, now I can't wait to poop to try them out.
Ooh, it's like a vacation for my butt.
This thing's like it's like an angelic beach towel. This thing's huge. You open up the package and it unfolds like 17 times.
Oh, so it's dude wipe.
It's like a fleece jacket for your anus, is what you're saying.
Well, it's wipes because there's 48 to the pouch. Apparently.
Oh, so they're TARDIS wipes.
So she doesn't just buy baby wipes? Because I know several people that just buy an extra package of baby wipes and put them on the back of the toilet.
Okay, so let me just be clear about this. And okay, I guess we have yet reached that age.
Yeah.
Don't buy baby wipes. At least make sure they are flushable.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There is a difference because she came home with baby wipes one time, and there's a little picture right on there. Do not flush.
Oh, especially if you have septic. Oh
yeah. Said, okay, listen, wife, we have a story. We got to make a decision here. Either I get a separate garbage can to keep these things in, or she says, I'm going back to Walmart. Don't worry.
Yeah.
She didn't even need to hear the or, because option A was not actually an option. And I can't say I blame her.
No, yeah. No, no. You're right. But no, it's one of those things, and I just tell you, this is where he was at this morning. I think this was the argument this morning. So he's had a catheter in for almost 4 weeks, ever since the first heart episode. All right. Because they were taking so much fluid out of him, and he was in the ER at the time. There was no way that he was going to be able to get up and go to the bathroom. All he's done is complain about this catheter, because it either leaked, or it pulled on him, or whatever, okay? Today, when they finally get somebody that says, yeah, let's take it out, oh, I don't want to take it out.
I just wanted to complain about it.
What do you mean you don't want to take it out? Well, I can't go to the bathroom. I can't get there in time. Now, Mike, you have to understand, this is a man who, when we called the ambulance to come and get him out of his house, we had to, and this is not a surprise to anyone that I'm relatives with, this is common knowledge, so I'm not, putting anything out there that they don't know already. All right, we went to move things away from around his bed so that the EMTs could work on him. One of the things we had to move was his pee bottle. Because if it's the middle of the night, he just don't get up and go to the bathroom because, his legs might still be asleep and he might stumble and fall. So he keeps one of those hospital urinals next to the bed, and it was full, Mike. It was full because he doesn't empty it.
Okay, so I have a solution.
And so we asked him, we're like, you pee in a bottle at home, what the heck would the difference be peeing in a bottle at the hospital? And the only thing we could figure out is someone would actually empty it so that it didn't just ferment, But, yeah.
So this is what you need to get him.
I'm looking it up right now. I had to launch Slack. A sheath is what you're talking about.
Or...
it's almost like a stadium buddy,
Or in this one, I kind of joke about. I didn't know that such a thing really existed, but I'm all about it now.
I see the word clamp. I'm not sure I would be all about it, Mike. No, I would definitely not be against something called a wiener incontinence clamp.
And yes, we do have to have something to complain about. And listen, maybe we just get him like an easy button, so when it's time to go to the bathroom, he can hit it, and it just plays throughout all the Amazons throughout the house. Code Red.
Yes. Now, Mike,
Code Red, people.
Now, Mike, I have to ask, because we'll get into that story in a little while. Has the Code Red story made its way to the East Coast yet?
It has not, except in my newsfeed.
Okay.
Nobody
it did make
knows
it
what
to
the hell.
CNN.
All right.
So it is an international story.
Yes. So we will get into that in a second. There's a local weatherman. Well, he was a local weatherman. Now he's just a local man who got into trouble with the Mountain Dew flavor. And it's not working out so well for him. So
Mama Blair's not happy about. Okay, listen, Mama Blair, I'm not happy at the fact that I can't make eye contact with you anymore on this thing. Now I got to look at the Code Red thing.
But yeah, my wife and I are looking at each other going, I really hope we don't get this way when we get old. And,
So I met up with a bunch of the guys I used to play hockey with a couple weeks ago. And the one guy's like, I haven't seen him in a while. He's like, you don't have kids, right? And I'm like, no, I don't have kids. And he's like, who's going to take care of you when you get old? I said, that's fucking depressing.
Yes, it is. But I can see where he's coming from with that question.
And I'm not trying to, there's no way to say this without being racist, but he's Chinese. And okay. I'm thinking to myself, is that the mentality? Is it a cultural mentality?
No, because white people think the same thing. Becca knows she's got to take care of me.
But no, that is a very true Asian mentality.
Okay.
Because the family, the extended family everybody takes care of each other, including the old people. Yeah.
Well, but that's because that the grandparents take care of the grandchildren, so that the parents can work.
Right, and then the grandparents get too old, and then the parents take care.
Yeah.
But
So
everybody stays together.
There's a cyclical thing to the way that particular culture works throughout their life cycle.
Yeah.
But his comment, whether or not he's of Asian descent, is a fairly routine one, I think, because I think a lot of people, myself included, look at, hey, one of the benefits of having kids is I have somebody that is going to change my diaper because I changed their diaper. All right.
Well, okay. I also look at one of our favorite shows, like The Cool Kids, and like that's how I'm going to be when I get older.
Well, and you can, because you didn't have kids to spend all that money on.
Exactly.
Correct.
So,
that's how it works.
No,
so
I'm
yeah.
not gonna have the kids coming to visit me, but I am going to be the Casanova of the retirement home.
That's right.
This is all, of course, hypothetically speaking, that I outlive Kim, and we know damn well that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. It happened to be benefits choice period at work the other day where you can make changes to your benefits. And I said, well, I went ahead and doubled my life insurance because I know I'm dying before you are. And likelihood is I'll probably keel over before I even retire, going at the pace we're going. So, you might as well be well off so somebody can enjoy it. And she goes, well, I don't know that I like that attitude. I'm like, well, I'm just being realistic here. Because in my family, if you make it to 60, you'll make it to 90. But it's a 50-50 shot of whether you'll make it to 60. Yep.
Now, about the best news that I got as far as living longer in the past couple of days is the shopping center that is right less than a mile from the house. So I could, in theory, walk there. They are opening a Planet Fitness, $10 a month, and that close. There is no excuse now.
In reality, there's no excuse ever, really.
To
neglect your health. But
if it takes me longer to get to the gym than to get to and from the gym because of traffic, then I can realistically spend at the gym.
Okay,
that is a problem.
I can kind of see that. My thing is, I have a perfectly good treadmill just on the other side of the studio wall that I haven't even plugged into the electrical outlet to use yet. I need to get the motivation to do that, but it's that life gets in the way kind of thing, Hey, I'm getting home at midnight from the hospital, from visiting with them, or from another trip to the ER or whatever. Gosh, really don't have the energy to do this.
Well, yeah. That's different. I get that when things are going on, but
yeah. So
I ain't saying I'm going to be up at the butt crack. Look, one of the guys I used to play hockey with, he retired. He's moving down to South Carolina. This was his last year playing with the club. He used to skate with us from 10:30 to midnight, come out for a drink afterwards, and be at the gym by 4:30 in the morning.
All right, he is insane.
Yes,
just clinically insane.
I'm not saying I'm going to be like that, but
no.
I need to get diesel because I want to be. I lift things up and put them down, but they don't allow that there.
I think you should dress like Hans and Franz.
I'm gonna bring that back.
I'm here to pump you up. So Mike, you published a story speaking about staying fit. April the giraffe. No more will we have to hear about her getting her whorish ways on.
Oh, thank God. Finally. What is it? The Columbus Zoo? I don't even remember. I think it's a Columbus Zoo. Well, they had giraffe watching. It's baby cam, giraffe, baby cam. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Animal Adventure Park in Harpersville, New York.
Yeah.
April the giraffe has been put on birth control, making her a better citizen than half of the United States. There will be no more babies. She's had 5, and the zoo decided that is enough.
None of the dads paying child support. They're tired of supporting all their her children.
April drew more than 232 million views on Giraffe Cam during a 7-week period in 2007. Think about how many productivity hours were lost as a result of this.
Tons.
Especially, you remember like the last week, she's walking around with hooves hanging out of her butt, and everybody's watching like, oh, it's what happened.
Well,
I
don't think that's quite where they birthed from, but close enough.
You got a bigger problem there.
I mean, if that's where they come from, then that God's loophole doesn't really work now, does it?
Really, that's what you're focusing on.
I'm just saying.
The fact that I made a figurative faux pas. Really now. Okay. All right. Hang on. I got a case of diapers coming to you from Prime, okay?
Okay.
Listen. But the zoo's breeding program will continue with a new female. Instead of April, it's going to be Johari and April's former mate, Oliver. Okay, so the zoo not only put her on birth control, but divorced her and pimped out the husband to a new mate.
Oh, she's been with multiple guys though. That ain't he ain't all the baby daddy.
Giraffe baby whore. Okay.
But I think they're making a big mistake because Johari is not nearly as easy a name to say as April. They should have come up with a giraffe name that's easier to say. Something that's a little bit catchier on merchandise, you know?
Joe.
Like Joanne. Maybe Jojo. Maybe they could have got some Magnolia money.
That's what they're going to call it, Jojo.
Yeah, they should. Jojo and Chip. That's what they should have done.
Here. Well, I remember, I don't remember if it was during the first one or the second one because those live streams kind of...
They all blend together?
Blurred together, right? But I do remember that they actually had to get a sponsor because the bandwidth that was being consumed by Giraffe Cam was actually eating into their web allowance or some crap. So they had to get a sponsor to pay for the data overage.
Yeah. And then
the whole time I'm thinking to myself, if they got rid of Flash and went to Silverlight, probably would have been less bandwidth. It would have been better.
Yeah, because nobody would have watched.
Switch to Azure.
That's right. Host it in the cloud. That way it goes down more often. That's all that matters.
Okay, so from the giraffes, there actually is jokes. A related story. So there's been several zoo animals killed by lightning in Florida recently, including some today. 2 giraffes and a wildebeest so maybe we should take them off birth control and start sending them to Florida because apparently they're all being killed there.
2 giraffes killed by billion-to-1 lightning strike at Florida Wildlife Park. What? I hadn't seen this until you just said that. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, maybe they should make things taller than the giraffes at the parks, and then they wouldn't get struck by lightning.
Well, the wildebeest was at Disney is not that tall.
Oh, Powder should have had a giraffe as a friend. Then he wouldn't have had so many problems. That's the issue.
So, I'm sitting there. Anybody who is a friend of mine and has followed my Facebook feed knows that the catio is complete.
Yes. And
the cats are thoroughly enjoying it. Now I've moved on to putting lights out there because it's in the grill area or the grill is nearby. And we want to be able to see if at night, if there are any cats in there. Kim wants me to put a cat cam. I'm like, that's not happening. So I'm thinking about ideas, and I'm like, okay, well, we have the breaker box right there. I'm sure I could put a light on. Then I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is a metal cat enclosure. Yes, it's on a wooden frame, but do I really want to attach a metal pole to this outside to put a light? And the answer there is Florida.
Well, why don't you put it on a PVC pole?
Well,
that's some Schedule 40 stiff pipe.
That's actually an option, but I found solar remote control solar floodlights that are like all self-contained. They look almost like a pseudo streetlight kind of thing, and I was able to mount those to the frame mount one to the frame to give me some light in that area. It actually works pretty well.
So did I hear that you poo-pooed the cat cam?
Yes, I did.
No, you need the cat cam. You could be the next April.
No. Look, really, I don't like. You guys are lucky I still do this show. I don't like people knowing my business, and I'm gonna have a cat cam on my catio.
Come on. It's just,
nope.
Would make it like a 4mm lens. It'll be very narrow. You just watch the cats.
Nope.
It's
not happening. That is absolutely not happening. Just as you got about as much chance of that happening as seeing me drink boba tea. All right.
How about if you get one on your birds? You need a bird cam.
That could happen because we do have babies.
Mm-hmm.
The babies are in the nest. And that would be relatively easy because it would be a porch cam. I just get enough of a fisheye lens that it would be able to see where they're at. But yeah, that is in the cards. Maybe not for this year, but for next year, that is in the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have doves now as well, and the babies are out there.
Yeah, so if you're not following us on Instagram, PTR Radio, then you really should be because you can see all of our adorable animal pictures. This cutting edge talk radio show that we do with our cute bird pictures posted on our Instagram accounts, and pictures of and as well as pictures of the last gig that I did. So one of the things that I had to do this weekend was put the rig back together because it went on a field trip, and everything worked exactly the way that I intended to for the rig because we're on tonight and everybody sounds good and all the settings went back to the way they should and life is good. But I had a 3-day event at the convention center. A lot of fun, but a lot of work. But what was neat was I was able to get a few new toys out of it. So as we were talking about before the show, I've got some new screens, 180-inch screens, and like I said, everything went well. So next year, that same show is in Collinsville, and there's a potential that I might get that one. So
nice,
another road show, which is always fun.
You're always welcome in myville.
Yep.
Now, what we got to do is I got to try and plan. Well, if you guys came to Jersey, you'd be flying out, right? You wouldn't be driving.
No, we'd probably drive.
Yeah, we talked about driving.
Okay, so what I got to do is I got to plan. We got to plan this right so that you can guest DJ with me at the rescheduled possible Christmas in August.
Okay.
Shenanigan event where I do the trivia inspired by Radical Thinking Productions. And...
Well, in all this work, I've actually been looking at new laptops because I was thinking, well, you know what, taking this rig is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I just need a really kick-ass laptop. Boy, laptops are expensive when you look at kick-ass laptops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was sitting here today thinking to myself, well, because the DJ software I use Tractor Pro,
mm-hmm.
and Tractor Pro, Pro 3, they're doing a special this month that it's half price to upgrade. I have Pro 2 right now. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there while I'm looking, and I'm like, something? If I took this monitor, this curved monitor that makes me angry sometimes, but okay. I took this curved monitor, I mounted a nuke to the back of it.
Uh-huh.
That would be cheaper than a laptop and probably more practical. Just not as easy to transport.
Yeah.
It's easy to transport. There's the lack of battery.
Well, yeah, that's...
Yeah, but in a DJ situation, you're plugging in anyway because you're plugging in your mixer, you're plugging in your speakers.
The only downside is there's no battery. There's lots of upsides.
Yeah,
infinite upsides.
Yeah, and there's decent carrying cases depending upon how big the monitor is. Like you can get a good carry case for up to 24-inch. If it's larger than that, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But I was looking at some really nice padded carrying cases that then also make room for your keyboard and mouse.
Well, I mean, this thing, if you set it up like that, it comes with the little mount to the VESA holes in the back of the monitor. So you just mount it back there, and basically you're creating an all-in-one that you're taking with you.
Yeah, and with this bag, essentially, the bag wraps around the monitor. So, then you just basically have a handle to pick it up and take it with you. I mean, it's a pretty cool, let's see, our carry bag. Let's see if I can find it for you. Cause there's some really nifty, like, look through, Rocat. That's it. Rocat 24 bag. Okay, where's the Amazon link that I just looked at? So yeah, I mean, there's some really nifty suggestions for this.
Yeah. Well, here's a suggestion how to get a computer there. But the problem is that when people come up for ask you to do a song, you might have trouble interacting. But I could see say you get the DJ.
Oh yeah,
DJ
yeah,
like
yes, I think you should be virtual reality DJ. Looking at your song selection through virtual folders. Yeah, that would work. I don't know why that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
it should work perfect.
I mean, with that thing on, you can have a screen that's the size of a building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, see this thing you sent me here. This would be So that would work if you had the monitor, the thing attached to the back. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of different options, but for me, the reason why I was looking at laptop was, and maybe in the laptop not the right way, but I was looking at it from built-in graphics cards, because that's where for the presentation stuff that really gets going. So
yes, and I mean I was adamant that I had at least a standalone graphics.
Yeah,
I wanted dedicated graphics memory. But you do presentations. If you're talking about just DJing, you really don't need that.
Yeah, no, you don't. Even if you're doing karaoke, you really don't need that. Or playing music videos, which sometimes I do. But, 80s music videos, not the most graphically intensive thing ever. As it turns out, we thought they were awesome. They weren't. Paul Abdul dancing with that cat.
I'm on a trip to the Northwest. Need to put a GPS in the rental car. Can't use phones due to lack of reception in some of those states. Okay.
All right. So, for my money, I take it that's Mama Blair and them.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I think
actually, there's two things there. One, you can actually download the Google Maps now to your phone, so you don't need reception. You can download a localized area so that it can work without cell phone reception. It does take up some space on your phone, obviously, but most of the time that isn't an issue. Secondly, if you want a standalone GPS unit that just basically suction cups to the window, think I've still got one running around that's been updated recently.
Yeah.
So, that's always an option too. The downside to that is you don't get real traffic updates, or at least not with the one that I have. Some of the new ones do, but then they just Bluetooth to your phone and get it via the data from your phone.
Now, see, I have a Garmin LMT55, which is lifetime maps in traffic, 5.5 inch.
And Mike has
this might be a telemarketer. Do we want to take this call?
Yeah, we can. Sure. Let's try that. Let's see here. Let's see what telemarketer we have.
This is Mike.
Hi, this is Shanita calling from Green Drop, a paid fundraiser for Purple Heart. Calling because we're going to have a...
Nah, sorry. I don't do any phone call solicitations for charity. I'm sorry. That doesn't happen.
No.
If you can pay people to call me to solicit money, then you're not managing your funds well.
pretty much. You should send those same people door to door asking for money. You'd be much more effective.
So what I was saying was the traffic receiver is actually, I guess it's radio-based because the antenna is in the charger.
Huh.
Because if you use an alternate charging source, because it's just a USB plug into the back, but if you use an alternate charging source, you can't get traffic.
So I wonder how the traffic gets in there. I wonder if it's that, the dial, the 920 FM or whatever, AM for traffic, or if it's some type of local data signal.
Well, let's see.
I don't know. It's weird. I'll tell you what. In talking about radio stuff, I saw a video about this thing called the Duck, which was a project initiative put out by IBM, and they were looking for, it's like Code for Life or something like that, and it was looking for people to have ideas about what to do with products and services and coding things. And this one was about deploying basically a mesh network where either a natural disaster occurred or utilities are out or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the idea is you have this AAA battery pack, you have this little Arduino, and you have this Wi-Fi antenna all in a plastic enclosure. And they were putting them up on balloons tethered to like cinder blocks so that they would go up in the air, 100 feet or so to clear obstructions and things like that. The neat thing is they were using this low power data protocol, and your transmission was close to like a mile or a mile and a half between points. And they were able to create this massive mesh network of these ducks. And with that, you could take your smartphone, you could connect to this mesh network and then report where your GPS location was, what services you needed, and things like that. And they've already tested it out in I think they did Peru, and I think they did Indonesia, just as a test bed for civil unrest type stuff. And it's showing good progress. So they're moving on to final production of real units that might be done by those larger, like 18650 batteries. Because they said the 3 AAAs last like 12 hours. Now, with the 18650s, they could last a couple days because it's super low power usage. Really neat when you look at that. So if you look for like emergency duck on YouTube, and you'll see it. It's really weird.
Back to the original question as well. A lot of times the rental companies will rent GPSs for their cars.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a good idea. It is available.
It is available, but like I said, I think if you can download the map to your phone,
just download the map to your phone.
I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. But if not, let me know and I'll dig out the old GPS unit. I'm sure I got it somewhere.
Yep. Or you go ahead and buy a Garmin Drive 50 from Amazon for $99 and return it when you get home.
Yes. The old rent from Amazon trick. The obvious...
Not that I advocate that stuff.
The obvious next step from rent from Walmart.
I just know how much you guys love Prime.
Oh, hey, one-day shipping has come to me now. It's showed up in my cart now. Buy this and have it available with free next-day shipping. Oh, that's a dangerous thing. My daughter... And it has really become a problem for my daughter, evidently. She ordered a ukulele the other day. And she couldn't be more excited. She's like, I bought a ukulele. I'm like, well, do you know how to play? She's like, no, I'm learning, though.
Hey. Yeah, there is some definite weird stuff that I've bought off Amazon.
Like, you bought a ukulele. That sounds actually pretty cool. So, dang it, now she's got me looking at ukuleles.
I have a ukulele on my Amazon wish list. And it's been sitting on there ever since I watched Joe versus the Volcano again, like 2 years ago, and he's sitting there. Cowboy.
Yeah, the sad thing is, not only was I looking at ukuleles, but then when I was talking to her, I'm like, well, you should also look at the kalimba. She's like, what the heck's a kalimba? I'm like, it's a little finger piano that sounds like a music box when you play it. Like, it's really pretty. And she goes, well, how much is that? I'm like, it's like $20. She's like, I'm going to buy that too.
Oh, God.
I'm like, awesome. I'll buy a ukulele and a kalimba and we'll be the worst duo ever.
So when I used to go on road trips to the NASCAR races with my buddies, we would always stop at Cracker Barrel on the way. And it was a given. I would wind up driving to the Cracker Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But like my driving shift would be over once we got to Cracker Barrel. And I would buy some musical instrument in the Cracker Barrel gift shop while somebody else was paying the check. One time it was a slide whistle. One time it was one of those bing, 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 bing.
Oh, a draw harp
things.
Yeah.
Draw harp. After that one, somehow my plans were foiled. I was always put driving after a Cracker Barrel, or I was made to pay the check and like, okay, we got to get on the road, so I didn't have time to
buy odd items. Well, here let's actually found
power washer right to the door. Yeah.
Yep. Here I actually found somebody, a ukulele and a kalimba. Like I said, it's going to be the weirdest band ever.
No, so it went by really fast.
Yeah.
But the other thing was boom whackers. So my mother has, for her birthday, has received a bunch of boom whackers. So we can do the boom whacker ukulele and kalimba orchestra.
Oh, yeah, I think we've seen things done before with those.
Yep.
So just as an example here real quick.
I was going to say, what's a boom whacker?
So we'll jump into this. Basically, they're just big tubes.
Yeah. They're tuned plastic tubes.
Yeah, they're like the internet. They're a series of tubes.
Okay, yeah, I looked up boom whacker, and thank God that didn't go terrible for me.
Did you think you were gonna like see our next double feature movie review or something?
That could have been. Oh Lord, listen. See now, my friends are lucky that they cut me off because the next step at Cracker Barrel would have been I bought a didgeridoo.
Let's see here, Cracker Barrel musical toys. What do we call our musical
harmonicas? But you know, those are always the best part with the slide whistle was when I'm sitting in the back seat and I'm messing around with it, and "Call Me Al" comes on the radio.
Oh yeah,
of course I have to try and go along with the piccolo part of the recorder part or whatever it is. I think I bought a recorder one time too.
Oh, here's somebody actually did a YouTube video of musical instruments from Cracker Barrel. Mike, why didn't you do the
melodica?
Melodica. The hell's a melodica?
It's
I'm
like
gonna be on them names. What are you talking about?
The keyboard flute thing. Here.
Oh.
Have mercy on me, oh God.
I know what you're talking about now, but all right, so I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed real quick here, and I made the comment earlier about Mama Blair's profile picture.
Yeah.
And how I was mad because I couldn't make eyes with her.
Uh-huh.
Well, apparently 25 minutes ago, she changed her profile picture.
Uh-huh.
But it's like her wedding picture. So, like, okay, I can't make eyes with you because now you're standing next to your husband. All right? We've gone from bad to worse here.
I don't think that was a wedding. That might have been a dance picture. I'm not sure.
Well, either way, Your dad's in the picture. I can't make eyes. That's not right. That's not a coincidence.
So, I'm trying to find. Boy, it's really hard to find instruments on Cracker Barrel's website. Musical instruments. They don't make it easy to search what musical instruments are available. It would be great. Oh, it would be great if we could just call them.
So,
yeah, I know you're busy with Dinner Rush, but we really need to know what musical instruments are available from your gift shop.
So here's a question for you.
Sure.
You know how whenever they have people on death row in the movies, right? They get the last meal, and that's pretty much there's lists of famous last meals and the criminals. What about a meal at your funeral?
You're dead. It's going to be hard to eat.
Well, apparently, it don't matter to this gentleman.
Well, I mean, if you want to plan out what your buffet is going to be at the funeral reception.
Nope. A great-grandfather in Leeds, England, literally took his love of double bacon cheeseburgers to the grave.
Ooh.
Customers at a Burger King were surprised when a hearse pulled into the restaurant's drive-thru. The driver ordered a double bacon cheeseburger, which was then placed on top of the coffin in the back of the hearse.
Oh, jeez.
Leonard Durkin died at the age of 71 after a long history of heart problems. There's a shocker. Before he passed, he told his son that when the time came, he would like his favorite snack to be placed on top of his coffin. Durkin reportedly would visit the Burger King after stopping by his wife's grave, which was located nearby. Now, I don't know what world he's living in or died in, I guess would be more appropriate. But in my world, a bacon double cheeseburger is not a snack.
No.
That is a meal. If you're eating bacon double cheeseburgers as a snack, I'm half surprised that the hearse is not like... Y'all remember that movie Fatso with Dom DeLuise? And the coffin was so big they had to have it on a trailer.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't fit in the back. This fit in the back of a hearse. Now, maybe hearses are bigger in England, but...
Well, yeah. This is what we're talking about.
Now, the sad part is he'll be buried with that bacon cheeseburger, and somebody will dig it up in 100 years and think there was a Burger King there.
Well, but there are a lot of rules about what you can and can't be buried with. It's like, these people that are really sick and say, I want my dog killed and buried with me.
Yeah, that happened recently.
Yeah, except for I was listening to the story.
Healthy.
The dog was perfectly healthy. The vet tried to talk the executor of the will out of it and everything. But the funeral home even said, we cannot by law bury the dog with the body. Even if it was cremated, we couldn't bury the ashes of the dog with the body. There's laws in place, and they could lose their funeral home license.
And if the dog was cremated, and if the person was cremated, who's going to be able to tell the difference when the ashes are mixed together? I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
And again, I was furious. It's one thing, because Kim and I talked about this. It's one thing, like, when one of us passes away. Okay, we have the cabinet of ashes. Have them mixed all together and put in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. But that's not saying if we have a dog and one of us passes away that we're going to put that dog to sleep so that it can be... No, that's the part that made me beyond furious.
And the shelter where it was initially placed said, we got people willing to take the dog now. It's a bred dog that people are looking for. They would have no problem placing that dog in a home.
And this is a big part of the problem, that animals are still treated as property by the laws in most states.
I mean, you want to do whatever with your ashes when you die, that's fine. Okay, cool. You want me to put you in a box, send you up in a weather balloon and launch you at the stratosphere? Okay, fine, whatever. But Fluffy is perfectly happy and chasing a ball. Yeah. I don't want to have them put to sleep.
Yeah, I kind of secretly, hope that they're like, well, we killed the dog and we cremated it. Here's the ashes. Go away.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they went to the Applebee's and just emptied the cigarette butt bin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
And I get dying wish, but
that's one of those where you
really
tell.
Gonna know?
That's where you tell the person, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, whatever you want, I'm gonna make sure it's done."
Oh, yeah.
And then they're dead. They're not gonna know. Are you really afraid they're gonna haunt you?
Well, okay. So she was buried in a private cemetery so that they could get the ashes buried next to her. That's how they got around the whole. If it was a public cemetery, you couldn't. But point is, her wish was that the dog would be buried with her. Great. So 5 years later, when the dog naturally dies, that's when he buried it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
wholeheartedly agree.
Fine. You make it a condition of the adoption of the dog. Whatever. When Lassie goes, it's going here. Okay, whatever.
So as I scroll through, and the reason I was scrolling through my Facebook feed is, with everything that was going on this week, we didn't get a whole lot added to the whitelist.
No, we didn't. We had a lot of stuff going on. And
this one popped up, which Fandango just posted this, and it's one of those questions just to draw comments and what have you, and I'm curious. It's a promo for Men in Black International. But it says, which movie sequel would you erase from your memory?
Oh, good question.
Any of the sequels to The Matrix. Superman.
I don't know. I thought they kind of redeemed it a little bit with 3. 2, I will grant you.
Yeah, but would it be better if neither of them existed?
I don't know.
Spider-Man, not Spider-Man. Superman 3 and 4.
Was that the one with
Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor. Was anybody else but Richard Pryor? Oh, it was kind of cool to see Superman boozing it up. My obvious answer is Boondock Saints 2. That just aggravated me, but that's kind of a cult thing. Alien Resurrection.
Aliens 3 should be nuked out of existence.
Aliens 3 I could even deal with. What was the one where was it Resurrection? Where Ripley was like a clone and with Winona Ryder?
I don't know, I didn't see it. It might be.
Oh, okay, here's one. I'm looking at a list. Daddy Day Camp.
Oh, God.
We did not need that. I know
you need the first
Cuba
one,
Gooding Jr. needed a paycheck, but not that bad.
No, Daddy Daycare was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, Daddy Daycare was good because it had Eddie Murphy in it, and it was a good point to it. There was a good story there. Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo. We did not need that movie. The first one, kind of funny.
Yeah, but the question, it isn't just what were bad sequels. It is what are sequels that actually made the first movie worse.
Okay.
Okay,
here's
one.
In that respect, I agree with you on The Matrix.
There's one. Speed 2.
It's a bad sequel,
yes.
But...
but it tainted the first one.
Yeah.
It tainted the... Nobody wanted to watch the first one.
I as I'm thinking about it, there's a reason why that movie has not tainted the first one for me.
Why?
Because Keanu Reeves wasn't in it. Okay. Well, the fact that Keanu Reeves was not part of the sequel.
Son of the Mask.
Oh
Lord, yes. I think you may have just hit the nail on the head with that one. Game over, man.
Police. This one, I know there were other sequels that were bad, like the Mission to Moscow was bad. Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
No, Citizens on Patrol was awesome.
Which one did you not like? City Under Siege?
I did not like any. Miami Beach. Was it Miami? Was Miami Beach first or was Moscow first?
Moscow was last.
Okay, then Miami Beach, the one that introduced Lassard's son. Nephew.
Yes.
To take over from Mahoney.
Eric.
Gotta go. Short Circuit 2.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Short Circuit 2.
Yeah, because that is a movie like you still want a sequel to Short Circuit.
Yes, but
and then someone points out Short Circuit 2, and you're like, no, that doesn't exist.
No, because I want Steve Guttenberg in the sequel.
Yes.
I don't want a letter from Steve Guttenberg. I want Steve Guttenberg.
I don't want the worst character from the first movie, the fake Indian person.
And I'm sorry, Michael McKean?
I think
not
so.
a substitute.
No.
For
there's a good one. Did Major League 2 ruin Major League?
No. Major League 3 Back to the Minors ruined them.
You shut your mouth. I like that one. It had Scott Bakula in it. It was a great movie.
Got the only saving grace, but no. It's funny because I was thinking, I didn't know if Major League 2 maybe fell into that or not, but no. I don't think that did any negative to it.
See, this list says Cannonball Run 2, but I can't agree because any Cannonball Run movie is a good movie.
I was going to say Smokey and the Bandit Part 2.
No, Smokey and the Bandit Part 3.
Oh,
that
3.
One.
That one
was even worse, yeah.
No Burt Reynolds, no movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
You should have hung
and
it
the
up.
cameo at the end don't count.
But still, not as bad as the others because Smokey and the Bandit, the original one, was not really damaged.
Oh, here we go. Look who's talking TOO with the dogs.
I thought that was now.
Oh, you're right. It was. This one was with Roseanne.
Yes.
Right. That was with the sister. And then the dogs was Look Who's Talking Now.
With Bruce Willis. And I don't remember who was the other dog.
Okay, so
the second, because I remember the name of it. The second Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
That's okay. Yes.
No, Blew Up the Baby.
Blew Up the Baby. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some listener.
Yep.
We got
Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Okay, so that's the girl one.
Yeah, that's not.
But that's not really a sequel. That was.
And they're coming out with a new original one. Not Star Wars.
The Last Jedi. Yeah. Okay. Now you're just.
We'll see what happens after that.
Your hour's almost up, man.
But Batman and Robin.
Oh man, I kind of like Batman and Robin, but I like the older Batmans though.
But that's what killed the older Batmans.
Batman and Robin was with Mr. Freeze, right?
Yeah, that's the one with bat nipples.
But that was wasn't that? No, Batman and Robin had Poison Ivy and Bane in it, didn't it? Because didn't that introduce Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah, it's the one of George Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney did too, though.
And Arnold.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's one very controversial on their list. Caddyshack 2. Now, we all agree Caddyshack, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Caddyshack 2.
No, Caddyshack 2 cheapened the franchise.
It definitely did. The only saving grace, the craziest guy still today, the nutty lawyer, Cousin Eddie himself with his flip out montage in that movie was great.
See, I'm not even sure I've seen.
Could we say European Vacation brought the overall score of the franchise down?
No, because we'd have to say Vegas.
Vegas is bad. European Vacation's not great, but Christmas Vacation.
Oh, Christmas Vacation 2 is the one that tanked it.
Christmas Vacation, that's not even counting. That's a made for TV.
Oh, here's one, and nobody can argue this one. Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Was Weekend at Bernie's that great?
I thought in the 80s, I thought it was funny. If I watched it today, it probably would not be funny.
Yeah.
In the 80s, hilarious. Right. It doesn't stand the test of time at all, but,
Sex in the City 2. Just wanted to see what kind of reaction I would get here.
I mean, yeah, sure. Scary Movie 5 was, no. Anyway, Home Alone 3.
I didn't care for Home Alone 2.
Yeah, but Home Alone 2 had its moments. At least it had, what's his name?
If you're going to say Donald Trump in it, I'm going to have to hit you.
No.
Okay.
No, Tim Curry. I have trouble hating any movie that has Tim Curry in it.
I don't.
Really? Wait. Okay. So I know the answer to this. Why am I even going to ask it? There's 2 Tim Curry movies that I have to question. The first is Clue, but then I said, no, you know what? He loved Noises Off. Clue was kind of along that same vein-ish. So
Yes, I really like Clue.
Okay. Congo.
I haven't seen Congo.
Oh, you got to watch Congo.
It's kind of like on purpose because my parents saw Congo in the movie theater and they said it was terrible.
Are you going to tell me that you honestly liked McHale's Navy?
He was in McHale's Navy?
Yes, he was the bad guy in McHale's Navy.
Well, I'm sure I liked him in McHale's Navy.
No, you wouldn't. You absolutely would not like him in McHale's Navy.
So let me be clear on one thing.
Okay.
I love McHale's Navy, just not the movie.
Okay.
McHale's Navy, actually, since it's a remake / which you could consider it sort of a sequel, since it's a remake, that's the worst. Because the original McHale's Navy is amazing.
See, I think I like it for its comedic over-the-topness.
I hate it because Roseanne's ex-husband decided to make it all about him, and everybody on it, including Bruce, says that he's the reason why the movie's terrible. Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
I thought Tom Arnold did good at that.
All right, so let's. I got the one that's going to end all of this.
Okay,
then we can move on. Human Centipede 3.
I have no desire to see any of those movies at all.
Do yourself a favor. Don't.
No, it's not going to happen.
I've never.
It's by a weirdo German director who just wants to see what he can get people to actually do.
Besides, I just saw the one it is the ultimate worst sequel.
Are you going to say Mannequin 2, Mannequin on the Move?
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
All right. Yep. Mic drop.
Yep, that's it. That's it. All right.
Moving on.
So we had a discussion after the last show, because the last show we featured who would we recast if we did WKRP?
Yes.
Okay.
I still come up with new names.
Yeah. So
good Lord.
So I'm gonna put this out there. One of the things I'm gonna do is I am going to start a topic on our Facebook page for the next show, not for this one because it took us like 45 minutes last time. All right. And I am going to ask our listeners for television shows that they want us to recast.
Okay.
All right.
So we can spend some time actually thinking about it.
So we'll spend some time in between episodes, and then we'll come back with our cast. We'll pick one show,
mm-hmm.
and then we'll recast that show, because I think that was a fun exercise. And
I do too, and I'm just worried about how much off-air time this show is starting to take up for a damn hobby. Between two movies, between each show, and now I got to recast a TV show and stuff. This is starting to turn into a damn job.
But I would take a twist, okay?
Okay.
We'll take the list.
Uh-huh.
I will give the list to somebody else.
Okay.
And have them send a message to each of us with what show we are supposed to personally recast.
I was going to have us all three do the same one.
I'm thinking we do different ones. And then we say who the cast is. It's too complicated.
No, I think we should just all do the same show.
Let's do one.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would be a fun game to say who the cast is, and we have to figure out what the show is.
Oh, no.
But that's too complicated.
No. Okay, so, yes, hello.
So we'll put that out there.
Hello, Teresa. Good to see you tuning in. And Baba Blair asking which one we recast last time. WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah, which, was a heck of a time, which, by the way, in case you're curious, Jennifer Marlowe was played by Kristen Bell, Bailey Quarters, Haley Steinfeld, Venus Flytrap, D.L. Hughley, Les Nessman, Leslie Jordan, Herb Tarlick, Paul Rudd, Andy Travis, Nathan Fillion, Arthur Carlson, John Goodman, and Johnny Fever, played by Jeff Bridges.
I think it might have been two ago, because I remember.
Yeah. Well, I think we may have flipped things a little bit, but that was at least one of our good go rounds. So I'll put that out there. We'll get some suggestions for shows that we should do, and we'll go from there. Now, before we get into our double feature movie review, which is coming up in about 30 minutes, which is a subject that we do every show, let's talk about Code Red just a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. So, Mike, you were only familiar with this from your news feed, from what you saw on Facebook. So let's break this down for people who aren't familiar with the story, although it's become a national story now.
Okay? Especially if you happen to have a Sinclair station near you.
Yeah, so this has become a huge joke. Pretty much, this Code Red thing has become a really big joke around the Central Illinois area. So, local television station decides, hey, the National News Service way for rating storms and their potential danger isn't good enough. It doesn't grab enough people. Doesn't get us the headlines. Doesn't make people scared. Doesn't get us enough ratings. All right, and so they say, hey, we're going to say, anytime we think the weather is going to be bad, that it's a Code Red situation, okay? Now, for those of you that are old enough to remember the terror code alert from the 9/11 days, okay, you got to find out every morning what color code it was, all right? And there was always a joke of, oh, is this a Code Brown day, all right? Am I going to have to crap my pants? So this whole thing, it seemed like every time there was a cloud in the sky, they would come on and go, oh, it's Code Red weather. Take cover, take shelter. Don't go outside. Hide your kids, hide your wife. The storm's going to get you. That's the way that it was played off on television. And everybody and their brother was making fun of this because it was, there was no basis for it. And even St. Clair Broadcasting Group, which is the ones who started this, okay, will not release what their conditions were for declaring something a Code Red condition. Okay, they won't give you the science behind them deciding whether it was a Code Red day or not.
And from what I'm understanding, the meteorologist in question had no say.
Yeah, it was purely a managerial decision.
Yes.
People who had no experience in weather forecasting whatsoever, or minimal at most. Yeah. Not people who actually were in contact with the National Weather Service, in consultation with them, or anything like that.
Well, the National Weather Service doesn't like the Code Red thing. That's not how they code things. In fact, the only Code Red that exists was about air quality.
Yeah, so... And in fact, the National Weather Service says that this is a detrimental practice that isn't just done by this St. Clair Broadcasting Group. It's done by others around the country. And they are trying to stop the practice because it's confusing when one station says the weather is one way and another station says it's a different way. Mm-hmm. It's spreading misinformation because you don't get a consistent story about what the weather is supposed to be like. And so it's not clear as to how you're supposed to react, whereas the National Weather Service has a set number of guidelines as to how to evaluate the weather, how to rate it, and how to forecast for it.
Plus, here in Central Illinois, these TV stations cover a huge area, like many, many counties. We don't have it's not compartmentalized. So you're seeing these Code Red alerts for storms that are 100 miles away and have nothing to do with you.
Yeah. So, the meteorologists, would come out and say, oh, it's a Code Red day today. And people would complain. And they go, listen, it was Code Red yesterday, and I felt 2 drops of water on me. I don't think I'm going to float down the river. All right? Or, hey, I just built the ark in my backyard. Where's this flood? Okay? So people were complaining. They were posting to Facebook. They were posting to Twitter. They were posting to Instagram. They were calling the television station and complaining. They were actually stopping people out in the street and saying, "Hey, what the heck are you doing? You're scaring people for no reason." And so, Joe Crane, our meteorologist, the chief meteorologist on the station, actually voiced his opinion about it on the air. And he said, listen, this is not my call. This is not our local management's call. This is a call from St. Clair Broadcasting corporate office. They tell us when to announce this. They tell us that we have to announce this. They say we have to do this. We have heard from you. We've heard, that you don't like it. We don't like it, but we have to do what they tell us to do. Now, I think he was okay up till that point. But then he went a step further, okay? He then said, FCC guidelines say that we are here to serve the public. And if you believe we are not serving you by giving you false alerts or by not reporting the weather to you accurately, then we're not doing what the FCC charged us with, and you have a voice to speak out.
Basically saying, go over my head.
Yeah, he was basically
not
saying,
listening to me.
Go to the FCC and tell them to pull the broadcast license or threaten to pull the broadcast license if they don't get their crap together. That's what he was, am I wrong? Yeah. I mean, that's what he was saying to do. I'm not saying he was wrong, okay, because he was frustrated. Everybody at the station was frustrated, evidently, that they couldn't get this changed because they knew what their constituents wanted. They knew what their public wanted, and it wasn't what management was pushing.
Yeah.
But subsequently, he was suspended. His all of his bio information has been removed from their website. They refuse to talk about his employment status on the station. Now, that has filtered down to the general public. They have had multiple large advertisers pull their advertising, saying, listen, Joe did the right thing. Joe said what our opinion. He voiced it. We don't like this either. We're going to pull our advertising dollars from you. There have been talks of boycotts for companies that are still advertising with this company.
And then they quickly pull it too.
And I don't know how many signs there are around town. I mean, there's a coffee shop that redid their main sign outside. I've seen electronic billboards. I have seen posters in yards. I mean, if this is a bigger grassroots effort than I've ever seen the city do. All for a meteorologist who spoke his mind. And he also, by the way, not just meteorology, he was also part of the morning wake up crew. He's pretty beloved in this town,
He's been here for a long time.
And I know the guy, okay, because he's one of the co-hosts for the Crime Stoppers Trivia Night that I'm a part of, that had 124 tables of 10 people apiece. All right. You don't just get Joe Blow to host that event that's got over 1,000 people at it. You get the people that folks want to see, and they wanted to see Joe Crane. So, it was a big deal when he essentially looks like he got canned for saying what the people, wanted. So there's all this, I stand with Joe, I support Joe.
Yep.
Going out there.
The station, I guess, posted up something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what they had said. I guess they released a statement basically saying they were going to back down from this Code Red thing.
They're renaming it.
Right. They're going to rename it to weatherman or something.
Across the entire Sinclair network.
Right. So Mama Blair just sent this one in. Saying the manager's son said Joe was fired on a Facebook page devoted to supporting Joe. Now people are saying Joe should sue because his civil rights were violated. Now we're getting into
that's civil rights.
The reality here, like if he's under contract, then would you want to go back to work for them? No. They should release him from his contract so he can seek employment elsewhere. That would be the best possible outcome from somebody who is not in the market. I don't follow this as close, but in my mind, that would be the best possible outcome.
The best outcome is if they release him from a contract. He is under contract, as far as we know.
If they release him from a contract and there is another non-Sinclair station in the area, they would be a fool not to snatch him up.
Yeah. This. I was telling my wife, I'm like, if he doesn't go back to this company, this will be the best thing for him. Because, okay, let's put it this way. He made a lead article on the Huffington Post. All right. He has been picked up. CNN had this article.
It is the front page of CNN right now.
So, he has more exposure than he has ever had before. Okay, not saying that this was wanted exposure. He just has it. So yeah, I mean they say that they're declining to comment on individual personal matters regarding Crane, but noted that the Code Red alerts will be renamed weatherman, like you said, Mike. Yeah. This is them now trying to save face by changing the name, but they're not going to, do anything else. Evidently, this isn't the first time that Sinclair stations have gotten in trouble. back in 2018, Sinclair asked their broadcasters to denounce certain news stories about Donald Trump as fake news, even though they were found to be true. So,
all right. So before we go down that rabbit hole,
and I'm not getting into the politics of that. I'm just saying that Sinclair management evidently seems to want to control broadcasters and what they have to say and which way it leans.
Shaggy, we've got about 15 minutes before we should start our reviews.
Yep.
I am sending you a link that I think you're going to want to discuss.
Okay.
This is a very important thing, and it may affect where you retire.
Oh, yep. I'm all about it. Oh, yep. So, actually, this has been a topic of conversation in several spots. So, let me lead into this way, okay? Illinois just passed legalizing recreational marijuana.
Yep.
Now, it's going to take effect in, about 6 months, I think they said?
I did keep track of that.
I think that's about what it said. And I think that makes us about the 12th state to legalize recreational marijuana use.
Well, about 6 months.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas.
That's right. Trees, baby, trees. But there was a discussion that actually happened recently that said that we are destigmatizing things. And not everything that we're destigmatizing is good. Maybe stigmas should be in place for certain things for the benefit of society. Now, Mike, you just passed me an article here that says New York lawmakers want to legalize prostitution. Now, prostitution isn't illegal everywhere in the United States, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't have places like the Bunny Ranch and whatnot. And it is one of the oldest professions in the world. Americans just seem to, have this aversion to it because we're a bunch of prudes. Sex is free. Why shouldn't it be a little bit for business?
So, to paraphrase,
sex is legal.
George,
making money's legal. Why isn't making money
George
with sex
Carlin.
legal? Yeah.
So the one thing that I agree with here, and this is something that needs to be, they're saying that legitimizing prostitution as a career, or decriminalizing it, we'll say, would reduce the amount of sex trafficking.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So I do agree with that. But then they also go on to say that they should decriminalize sex work, but not the actions of pimps and johns. Now, what the pimp part, I understand. It's basically to protect the workers in this line of work.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also see the downside where the jokes about kids in high school having a career that involves, fries with that, or something that involves a pole.
Yeah.
By decriminalizing it, you could very well be turning this into a viable option for the high school whores.
So are you saying that the vocational programs for this particular job would be very interesting at the...
I'm saying that it presents a very unique problem. And, going back and talking about the legalizing marijuana, that's been a big debate here in Jersey because, Governor Murphy basically campaigned on legalizing marijuana in New Jersey. And he has not been able to do so. Prior to the state making it legal, several towns, including mine, have passed ordinances or changes to the local ordinance that would not allow a marijuana shop to open up within town limits. Some towns have even taken this a step further, saying even if it is legal in the state of New Jersey, it will still be illegal to consume in our town for recreational purposes.
Wow, and I thought we were prudish here. See, now, what's
we still
interesting...
have we still have towns that are dry towns in New Jersey that you can't buy alcohol in the town.
See, now our new governor, this was one of the things that he campaigned on, was that he wanted to not terribly strongly. This wasn't one of his major points, but it was one of his minor points, was that he wanted to legalize recreational marijuana because he said the tax revenue and all the other things coming out of it. And by the way, not only does he want to legalize recreational marijuana, but he wants to clear the small convictions and offenses of 700,000 drug convictions off of people's records. That is going to result in a huge reduction in prison population, as well as a lot of people that now would be eligible or more eligible to be employed. Because honestly, with any type of a mark on your record, it's difficult to get employment because nobody wants that on there. Now, it's interesting. We talked about this a little bit at work, and I had someone who, I work with that said, "Oh, it'll take years to pass. It's not going to pass the first time around. They just don't have the votes. He's going, this isn't going to happen anytime soon." A farmer friend of mine, because I told him, well, if he's having trouble planting corn, he might as well flip over to wacky weed because it's going to happen, and he could make more money that way. And he assured me. He goes, no, it's not going to happen. And sure enough, here we are, just a month after I had that conversation with him, and it's signed.
Yeah.
So nothing in legislation is ever a guaranteed thing, be it positive or negative, is one thing to take away from this. And, do I think that it's going to result in a whole lot of new druggies? No, I don't. I think that you will end up with those people that say, you know what, I never did it before because it was illegal and I was afraid of getting caught. And they're going to try it. And those are the same people that said that didn't drink underage, and then on their 21st birthday, they went out and got lit, and then they didn't over imbibe again because they got it out of their system. They tried it and they decided it wasn't a big deal.
Well, see here, the interesting point, and this is the one that I kind of struggle with, is parents are concerned of what kind of message this portrays. Because all this time, the schools, the police, the parent, everyone has said drugs are bad. Marijuana is bad.
Yeah. Well, we've also said
it's just marijuana. Well, no, it's still bad. Now we're talking about making it legal. So how do you, as a parent, and I don't have the answer, but as a parent, how do you explain that to your child of why it changed?
Well, I look at it as the same way as this, is that smoking's bad for you. Drinking is bad for you. Okay? All those things are bad for you. The fact that they were legal doesn't change that they were bad for you.
Right.
Okay? The fact that this was illegal made the penalty worse. Okay? Made the penalty worse. It didn't make the facts worse, just the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's the way you look at it. I mean, my kids, all right? I know what they do. I'm not an idiot, and most parents aren't. Most parents know when their kids are into stuff they shouldn't be into. And hopefully you're smart enough to know when they have a problem that they need help with. Okay? Because there are those problems. But hopefully this is just something, this is no different than drinking or anything else, where you do it responsibly. The only issue that I have with this is that it doesn't appear to me, according to what I have heard in testimony on the House floor, that there is a good roadside portable test to tell how affected you are by marijuana.
Oh, well, it's funny because
like there is for alcohol.
It's funny because there was a thread on Facebook about this a while ago, and someone we all know, and I'll say love, actually said that there's now that they have a viable breathalyzer for THC. I said, oh, would you care to provide a link to that? And they shut up real quick. Because there's a company that claims to have the technology, but has not produced a working prototype yet.
Yeah, according to NPR, which, a fairly trusted source here. August 4th, 2018. Granted, this is almost a year old. Said the pop breathalyzer is here, maybe. So they're talking about here that there's a prototype, that works occasionally, but that the breathalyzer needs to be a consistent temperature to have consistent results. And
what is the level that
all this stuff, and it'll be just like alcohol, where we'll decide, okay, here's the level, and now, we need to lower the level. We need to lower the level again, because the alcohol level used to be what, 0.1? The BAC used to, I think, be 0.1, and now we've walked it all the way back to 0.08. So, over time we bring down our limits on how this can be. So, by the way, that prototype was built by a place called Hound Labs.
Yes, and they still do not have a working
so
model.
That's my only issue, is that if we can't judge the impairment of someone.
But the police are always... Here's the problem. The police can always decide that you are impaired. They don't need a legal... They don't need a test to know that you are impaired. The problem is, do you trust the police in the first place?
Right, and with the state that we're in today, I think it would be better if there was an unbiased. Yeah. We trust speed cameras. We trust that kind of stuff. We trust machines. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I think we need. But maybe it's a case of chicken and the egg. Now that more and more states are, passing these laws, we will get the funding to build and do the research and have the innovations for these types of equipment. Because up until now, what was the need? Why did I need this equipment? Nobody was, it wasn't legal before. It was, if you had any, I haul you off. Well, now it's, you have X amount, I haul you off. Otherwise, I say, have a nice day, sir. So, and I think it's also going to be a point of, I don't know, because honestly, I will say I've done it twice, many, many, many years ago, and it had no effect at all. So, and I'm not saying, it had no effect at all, but I was really loopy. No, it had zero effect at all, and part of that's because of the medication I take for migraines.
Okay, so I have one more point, and this is jumping back to the prostitution thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and the marijuana thing as well, because if you're decriminalizing it, then the retail of it is would either of these be considered a trade as opposed to like going to college? And if so, will the Micro Works Foundation provide scholarships?
That is a good question. I mean, how many?
I should post that on his Facebook page.
How many agricultural scholarships does he have right now? Because there's going to be a lot of work in grow houses, I think.
Well, I was thinking about the other trade as well, but that's okay.
I'd say anything that helps cut the trade in human trafficking is a good thing.
Is a good thing.
I'm just not sure how much it affects somewhere like New York City. Because, like, I was reading lately the ice cream truck wars in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah. So one group of ice cream trucks has locked out all other ice cream trucks from going into the Midtown.
Okay.
If other trucks come in, they box the trucks in and they threaten people with baseball bats.
Ah, sweet.
And so someone asked the people getting threatened, like, so have you called the police? And they're like, call the police? This is the streets. It's like, this is just the way things are.
We settle this with baseball bats.
And I was just thinking,
and Italian accents.
That's a snow-capped mafia right there. That's what it is.
I was just thinking, if that was in Texas, they're just like, one person would be selling ice cream, somebody else would come and try to box them in, and the first person would just shoot them, and that'd be it.
It's the Snowcaps versus the Rocket Pops. That's what it is.
It's just crazy.
Watch out from the creamsicles from the west side. They're real trouble.
I don't know, so I just look at that going, that even if they legalized the prostitution in New York City, that's not going to stop the pimps. Because they're still going to be hitting each other with baseball bats.
Well, they got to keep their hands strong. So, I mean, but no, I think that, yeah, I don't know. I think that, and I think it's been proven over in Europe. Okay. I think it's been proven over in Europe. You regulate, the industry, you strictly enforce testing, and I think you can make it a safer work environment for the people that are doing it. And if you do that, I think in general, you're going to see crime rates go down. Now, whether it's all the crime rates that you're intending or just a specific few, does it really matter as long as some of them go down? Anything you can do to reduce crime rates is good. All right. And you're not changing a person, no matter what. The problem we have in this country is we think laws are going to change people's attitudes and actions. And the truth is, bad people will always be bad people. The question is, how do we deal with them, and how do we, which actions do we decide are the ones that we actually want to criminalize versus what are the ones that we want to say, listen, we understand what you're doing, make it safe for everybody involved. Okay? Jumping off a bridge. It's a lot better if you have a bungee cord attached to you. So...
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stats and you look at Nevada where, there is lots of legal prostitution and there are still a lot of bad things happening in Nevada. So,
well, there are bad things, but but would there be more if there wasn't?
Apparently some of the legal brothels are being used as fronts for child trafficking. So, wow. It doesn't, yeah. So apparently it is not helping.
Oh. So, anyway, we are obviously not going to solve this problem tonight.
No.
But what we can do...
Or any other night.
Yeah, but what we can do is we can give you our opinion on 2 movies. So, we, every show, do the double feature movie review, or at least as many shows as we try. And so, this night, we decided that we would do our random picks from the last show. We have 2 caper movies. If you want to call them that, which Colin says that we probably shouldn't.
We have 1 caper movie and 1 not a movie.
Mike will agree with that.
So we have The King of Thieves and Dirty Dealing, both available from Amazon. So I say we go with The King of Thieves first.
Oh, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And Colin, I'm going to let you go first because you love a good Michael Caine movie.
Yes.
So we're going to go Colin first.
So okay, first off, we don't have our big TV over there, so I'm trying to find there's the camera. Okay. So, King of Thieves is, thank you. Let's do this. King of Thieves is a Michael Caine movie. But it's also a caper movie. I love caper movies. I love Michael Caine caper movies. So, this should be a wonderful movie. It almost is. Here's the problem with King of Thieves. King of Thieves is based off of a true story. It is an actual burglary that happened in London several years ago involving actual real people. And that, I think, hurts the movie a bit because, Michael Caine, I know, talked to the actual guy so that he got some of his personality and stuff from that. It limits the movie. It limits them to what actually happened. And it means, like, in a real caper movie, the audience usually doesn't know something. So you watch the caper, then you find out, through some trickery from where the camera was placed and stuff, you missed this thing. And so you're like, that was great. Because it was a caper movie for the audience as well as a caper movie in the storyline. That couldn't happen here. And the actual caper itself is really only interesting for the people who are involved, not the actual caper. Because it's a real caper. It happened in real life, and so it's limited to what actually could happen in real life. And it's also limited to, part of the fun of the caper movie is fooling the cops and having someone who is a bad guy that you are, like the Ocean's 11 series, where you're trying to get back at somebody. This is just a real place with real cops who look at all the cameras in London and say, "Oh, there they are, right there." Bam, get them done because they're morons. They looked at all the cameras and then think, "Huh, there's all these cameras. We've counted them, but that's all we did. We counted them." So, as a movie, I enjoyed it. It's definitely not going to be a Schneikes for me, just because it wasn't that much fun. It just it just was a good movie. But I will give it a smile.
Okay. Mike, you want to go next or me?
I'll go next. I mean,
okay.
Mine is actually going to be short. I didn't take any real notes during this movie because this was one of those rare movies that we watched that I actually enjoyed beginning to end. The two things that kind of mess with me, one, with some of the flashback scenes, I had to go and see if this was actually a sequel. And I didn't realize that they took clips from the actors' previous movies that had nothing to do with this to kind of make it appear like they were all in a movie together. But the actual hardest part for me was seeing Charlie Cox act sighted, because previously I'd only seen him in Daredevil, and hearing him speak because he had an accent. Beyond that, this movie kind of reminded me of a heist version of the Full Monty. So while I'm not going to give this a Schneikes, I'm going to give this an ear-to-ear smile. I did enjoy it. It's one of the few movies that I would recommend to listeners and would have zero problem about doing that.
Okay, and that just leaves me then. So I watched both these movies today. So they're both fairly fresh in my mind. I'm going to say right now, I wasn't terribly impressed with this movie. We watched quite a few heist movies on this segment, and this was not one of my favorites. I will say I'll take a stark raving mad over this any day. Mm-hmm. Like Mike, I was really surprised about with all the flashback footage and everything. They had to have scrubbed the archives to find that stuff because at first I was like, did they look for characters? Did they do digital re-aging? What did they do? Because these things look like they mash up perfectly. And it's incredible. That part of the movie is A+ for editing on that. I mean, that was great. But as far as the caper itself, like Colin said, because it's based on a true story, you lose a lot of it. And, you know, this thing has some layers to it. I won't lie. There are some layers. You do get a little bit of the backstabbing. You do get a little bit of the mystery, but not nearly as much as what we're used to in this style of movie. And, boy, it's evident that I missed it. You know, I really wanted more. And like Colin said, you needed a bad guy. You really need a bad guy. You need a bad guy in this. And, boy, one of the biggest things that threw me off was a multi-day caper. Okay? The thought that we could do this job over a weekend because, you know, nobody's going to check in. You know, that just blew my mind that, it's a holiday, so nobody's going to bother to even show up and take notice of this big diamond vault. You know, that's got all this tons and tons of 300 million pounds worth of inventory in it. We're going to leave it alone for 2 whole days. You know, what shocking that actually happened. You know, so I tell you what, in my mind, this only gets a meh, and it is really lucky to get that from me. I was not interested in this really at all. It failed to keep my interest, but meh is about as good as I'm going to get out of this one. All right. So next up, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. We have Dirty Dealing. Now, I want you two to go first. I don't care which one goes.
Mike better go first.
All right. So Mike, you're up. Dirty Dealing.
So during the opening, I'm sitting here wondering which one of these girl dealers was actually a porn star before this, and thought that this movie was going to be their big break into the mainstream movie industry. Then I also think that Michael Madsen was the one that told them that this would be the big break, that, you know, their starring role. It's very adorable how the little kid likes getting hugs from the chick with the big jugs. Ain't that cute? And it's good to see that Madsen is as much of an ass in this movie as he's rumored to be in real life. One thing that really bothered me was that the owner of the casino, the character played by Michael Madsen, the character's name is Mr. Belding. And after hearing that, I keep seeing the mother of said little boy as the dollar store Jessie Spano from Showgirls. And during this scene where our main character is talking to the guy in her living room, suddenly my spidey sense goes off. But it's not a normal spidey sense. It is there's an interesting movie on Cinemax from when I was 17 years old, spidey sense. Now I am convinced that at least one of these girls did porn at some point. It was right after this that woman emerges from her kitchen wearing skimpy lingerie. What kind of woman just happens to keep skimpy lingerie in their kitchen? Kind of bitch you either pay by the hour and or get the clap from. That's what kind. After the photo shoot scene for the calendar, I'm putting the over-under on number of porn stars at 4. After they talk some stuff at the pool, they show the outside of the casino. There are dealers' pictures on the billboard, and they're the same pictures from the photo shoot. So what happened there? Continuity error. Hearing Michael Madsen speak makes my skin crawl. I'm shocked that he wasn't caught in one of those Me Too cases. Maybe he was, and I just didn't even notice. The entire movie seemed like it's filmed in front of a green screen, right? I'm wondering if someone forgot to turn off their Instagram filter when they were recording this on their iPhone, but then I realized that this movie was originally shot in 3D. Why? We will never know. But it is also the first 3D movie in history that did not do any kind of 3D gag. I then find out that this thing was filmed in 2011. Wasn't released until 2018. 7 years it sat on the shelf in some production company's office. What the hell kind of business model do you have that you decide now is the time to release this movie? The guy helps these girls just to get a painting. Did not see that coming. We're going to see what the twist is going to be. And, oh, what in the F and F? Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo ending. Scooby-Doo ending. Are you kidding me? Scooby-Doo ending. I was going to give this a smile just because I was feeling kind. And, it was kind of cute. They tried. But after that ending, this gets a late night, up all night, never watch it again. I don't know what to rate this movie. I truly don't. I don't want to rate it Kill It With Fire, which is the typical rating I give when I don't think a listener should ever see this. But I don't know. I don't know what to give it. Because we're in new territory here. Trying to rate a Skinamax porn. Softcore porn. Look, I don't. Let's just go with meh. Middle of the road. Let's just go with meh.
I thought maybe you'd give it a scrambled.
A what?
Scrambled. Like when you used to try and make out the boob from the scrambled channel.
Maybe I could give it a. No, there's just too much of an innuendo there. I was going to say, because when I got older, I graduated from the 2, 4, and 7 to having what we called the hot box that was like the decoder box. But I don't think we want to do that now, do we? So let's I'm gonna give this. I don't know. I'm gonna give this chicken head. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to give this. I really don't.
I'm right there with you, Mike. Because I'm just like, there are movies I have given Kill It With Fire to that I would rather watch than watch this. It's a porn movie, Shaggy. You gave us a porn movie.
Go ahead with your review.
No, it was a porn movie. I am not reviewing a porn movie. It was just
Okay.
It's just what's it going? What? Why?
Colin, should we agree? Should we maybe give this DNQ?
We'll give it NAM.
Why don't you give it an impotent?
NAM, not a movie.
All right.
So no review for you.
No, I'm not.
All right. So let me give my review.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll review one thing about this movie.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a movie with a bunch of porn stars. Just porn people wearing skimpy bikinis in a pool with how old was the little boy? There's a little boy there, obviously having way too much fun. I mean,
best acting gig that kid's ever got.
It was weird and skeevy. No. Anyway.
All right. So like I said, I watched this movie today. That was after I get the message from Colin. Okay. Which says, I'll give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes here. All right. So we get a note that says, new rule, no softcore porn movies. All right. Mike says, I agree with this new rule. So instantly I think, this is going to be a good movie. Child of the 80s, I grew up on Hot Dog. I grew up on Ski Patrol. I grew up on, all right. Skinamax After Dark was watched at my house all the time. Okay. Up until 1993, by the way, in which point they turned it off. But there wasn't Porky's was on regular rotation at my house. All right. This is nothing new to me. And so I thought, softcore porn, this is going to be something really good. All right. Then I get this, then I see what Colin calls softcore porn. All right. And, all right. So do you see bare breasts? Yes, you do. All right. Do you see, rear ends? Yes, you do. All right. You see simulated. All right. Sex. You don't actually see any details, we'll say. Okay. For about a minute and a half of the overall movie, that's what you see. And then you see some kissing and stuff like that later on in the movie. I mean, you do see quite a few boob shots. I will give you that.
Yeah,
but to
it's
call
a full
this
frontal. There was some full frontal,
right? But to call this a softcore porn movie is going a bit too far, I think. Unless your view of porn is much lower than mine, which wouldn't be surprising. All right, honestly. But let's go through. So we have Frida Farrell. All right, now those of you who don't know, she has been in things. She was on Bones. She was in a movie called Contract Killers. She was in a bunch of different things, mostly uncredited or little roles. Nothing exciting.
She was also part of a documentary. She released a documentary a few years ago about either a rape case or a date rape case after the statute of limitations expired. So basically, she could badmouth the guy and there'd be no repercussions. There's a lot of controversy around that one.
Okay. Ariana Madix. So she was in Vanderpump Rules. She was in Anger Management, Waking Up with Strangers. The other two, I mean, she's done college humor videos, quite a few of those. All kinds of things like that. She was in a couple of different small TV shows. Okay, so, she has acted. Madeline Lane hasn't really been in a whole lot. All right, there's a couple of little things here, but nothing of interest. Patricia Hollis. All right, this is the one where I will give you credence here, okay? Patricia Hollis, some of you may or may not know, was in Girls Next Door and Kendra and the Playboy House and Playboy Video Playmate Calendar 2009 documentary, okay? Whether or not you call Playboy porn, it's definitely pornographic, but if it's porn, it depends on your personal point of view. Had C. Thomas Howell in it. All right? Now, you can't argue that C. Thomas Howell hasn't done porn. All right? At least not that I know of. I don't watch that kind of porn if he's done it. Okay? But, so, I mean, you had some legitimate Michael Madsen, as you know, 8-Man pointed out. So, there's some legitimate actors in here. Now, honestly, 100% honesty, I was more interested in this movie and its plot lines than I was in the other one. I was more enthralled with what was going on here because here, at least, we had a decent story that had a twist for sure. You know, had like 2 twists that I wasn't expecting. Had one twist that I thought was something, and then it was something else entirely. So, I was into this movie. Now, whether it's because of what Colin said or whether it's just because it was a good movie, we will leave you, the viewers, up to decide. So, if you want to watch a movie that is definitely Skinamax, okay, I won't disagree with that point. There's definitely Skinamax elements in here. Then watch Dirty Dealing 3D, okay? But for my rating, Mike, as far as I'm concerned, this is getting a smile. That's what I'm going to give this.
Mama Blair writes in.
That's true.
Yeah, this is not a movie you want to watch with your parents in the room. This is what I would consider an interesting date night movie with someone you've dated for a long time. Mm-hmm. So,
next show we are going to go over the rules.
Yes, by next show we will have codified the rules, and they will be documented and put up on the website, just like both the toilet rules and the death pool rules.
And I think we're talking about taking suggestions.
Yeah, just like we were going to take suggestions for TV shows that we should recast, we will also take suggestions for movies that we should review.
And suggestions will, initially I'm thinking we'll put the suggestions on the list.
Yes.
And we will, they'll still be subject to random number. Now, if we start getting a bunch of them, then we may break into 2 lists.
Yeah, and
one
then
will be our host picks, and one will be listener suggestion.
And then what we do is we would pick one from each list. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I should point out that the director/writer of Dirty Dealing 3D has the stupidest name I've ever seen.
Christopher Robin.
Yes. I pointed that out during the last show. Like, what the hell? What is this? Pooh Bear Robin from the Rich?
I tried to find anything about him. All I could find is a lawsuit for where he was being sued for assault. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, upstanding person there. As long as it's the same Christopher Robin Hood. But how many Christopher Robin Hoods can there really be?
I don't know. That is a good question. We should find out. All right. So Mike, you and I actually discussed maybe making a mandatory for the next show since the sequel to it has come out.
Well, before we do the picks, only if if we have a unanimous agreement.
Right.
What are we thinking?
Iron Sky.
Oh yeah, that's
2. Oh
yes,
wait, Iron Sky, the first one. Yes,
Iron Sky, the first one,
which is available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, we never did Iron Sky, the first one?
No, we never did Iron Sky, the first one.
So, can we just do it a double?
Do we want to do a double feature? A true double feature where we watch 1 and 2, Mike?
You don't have to. You don't got to twist my arm on that one.
Yeah, because you've already watched 1, so I'm okay with that if we just want to make it Iron Sky night.
Yeah, just do Iron Sky week.
Okay.
All right, so that's going to be it. So we're going to do Iron Sky 1 and then Iron Sky 2. So Iron Sky is just the name of the first one, and then Iron Sky: The Coming Race is the name of the second one. So, yeah, and we do have both of those available to us. So,
yep,
it will be a fun night full of Nazis for the next radio show.
Oh God, y'all haven't seen the first one?
No.
Oh, you're in for it. Oh boy.
Now, Mike, I have to ask. Boy. This isn't softcore porn, is it? Because so Colin's out.
There is no.
Okay. There's no Nazi boobs being shown.
My definition.
Okay.
My definition there of the softcore porn was that it was simulated. If it wasn't simulated, it would be hardcore. That's the difference.
Okay.
And I'm not going to complain about anybody wanting to watch that. The part that skeeved me out is the little boy with all of them jumping around in a pool.
I think that was one of the truest parts of the whole movie. Because, that would happen. I think that was the truest of form part. But anyway, that's me. All right. So Iron Sky Night on the next radio show. Should be fun. Oh, and right now the next show is scheduled for the 24th of June. So that's when we'll be back. We'll be back on our regular Monday, hopefully.
Yes, we're far away from the 4th, so that's a week, an off week.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So that should be that. So then with oh, come on, go down there. Oh, there we go. So with that said, folks, you have been listening to another edition of PTR Radio, and we thank you very much. Don't forget that you can always follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, PTR Radio. Just look for us there. You can find the individual host bios on ptrradio.com. It has links to all of our individual social media content. But follow the show first. Make sure that you also subscribe to our podcast so that you never miss a show. We are getting better about posting those up on time nowadays. Got a little bit behind there, but we're getting better about that. And, we really appreciate you guys downloading, telling all your friends, letting them know, hey, this goofy show talks about 2 movies and a bunch of other stuff, and they give you a definition of what's porn and what's not. A sliding scale. And they talk about the really important stuff, like Code Red. So, as we say, it's a 66% local podcast. So, you can always send us your ideas for topics and discussions you want us to talk about. We'll be more than happy to give you our thoughts on it. Just about anything, anytime, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So, with that said, folks, we will see you again on the 24th. I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.